The Galactic Council chamber hummed with nervous energy as representatives from 47 species gathered for what would later be known as the most uncomfortable xenobiology presentation in recorded history. Ambassador Krell 9 of the Vorthak Empire adjusted his breathing apparatus for the third time in as many minutes, his 6 eyes darting between the holographic displays and the lone human representative seated in the front row. "Well, this should be entertaining," muttered Councillor Vex from the Zephyrian delegation, her translucent wings fluttering with barely contained amusement. "The soft skins think they can educate us about predatory behavior." Dr. Elena Vasquez, the human representative, sat calmly in her chair, a slight smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical bun, and she wore a simple blue jumpsuit that seemed almost insulting in its casualness compared to the elaborate ceremonial garments of her alien colleagues. "Today's session," announced Prime Moderator Thexall, his voice resonating through the chamber's translation matrix, "will focus on apex predators from member worlds. We shall examine the most feared hunters from each ecosystem to better understand the evolutionary pressures that shaped our respective species." The presentation began with the Krillian delegate proudly displaying their homeworld's razor-claw behemoth, a 30-foot creature with diamond-hard talons and armor plating that could deflect plasma rounds. The chamber filled with appreciative clicks and whistles as the hologram demonstrated the beast's hunting techniques. "Magnificent," breathed Ambassador Krell 9, "truly a perfect killing machine." Next came the hegemony's contribution, the Void Stalker, a creature that could phase through solid matter and possessed venom capable of dissolving molecular bonds. The assembled aliens leaned forward in fascination as the demonstration showed the predator materializing inside its prey. "Now that," said Councillor Vex, "is what I call efficient hunting." One by one, each species presented their homeworld's most terrifying predator. The aquatic collective showcased their tsunami serpent, capable of generating localized tidal waves. The silicon-based Federation displayed their magma worm, a creature that swam through molten rock and could spit superheated metal projectiles. With each presentation, the aliens grew more animated, comparing hunting strategies and debating the relative merits of various killing methods. The human representative remained silent, occasionally taking notes on a simple tablet, her expression growing more amused with each passing moment. "And now," announced Prime Moderator Thexall, "we come to the Earth delegation. Dr. Vasquez, please present your planet's apex predator." A hush fell over the chamber as Dr. Vasquez stood, her movements fluid and precise. She activated the holographic display, and the image of Earth appeared, rotating slowly to show its blue oceans and green continents. "Thank you, Prime Moderator," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber. "Before I present Earth's apex predator, I'd like to share some context about our planet's ecosystem." The hologram shifted to show various Earth creatures in their natural habitats. A great white shark glided through deep waters, its rows of teeth gleaming menacingly. Several aliens nodded approvingly. "Impressive dental configuration," observed the Krillian delegate, "clearly built for tearing flesh." "Indeed," Dr. Vasquez agreed. "However, this is not our apex predator." The display changed to show a Siberian tiger stalking through snow-covered forests, its powerful muscles rippling beneath striped fur. The chamber erupted in approving sounds. "Now we're talking," said Councillor Vex. "Look at those claws, that jaw strength. This must be your apex predator." Dr. Vasquez shook her head, her smile widening slightly. "No, though I appreciate the enthusiasm. This is also not our apex predator." The presentation continued with increasingly impressive creatures. A polar bear catching a seal, its massive paws delivering crushing blows. A saltwater crocodile performing a death roll with its prey. A golden eagle swooping down at incredible speeds. With each creature, the aliens grew more excited, certain they had identified Earth's ultimate predator. And with each creature, Dr. Vasquez politely corrected them, her amusement becoming more apparent. "Surely," said Ambassador Krell 9, his breathing apparatus wheezing with excitement, "one of these magnificent beasts must be your apex predator." "Oh, they're all quite impressive," Dr. Vasquez replied, her tone casual. "But no, none of these are Earth's apex predator." The chamber fell silent. 47 species of advanced alien life forms stared at the human representative, confusion evident in their varied expressions. "Then what is it?" demanded Councillor Vex, her wings fluttering with impatience. "What creature could possibly be more dangerous than these monsters?" Dr. Vasquez's smile transformed into something that made several aliens unconsciously step back. It wasn't threatening exactly, but there was something predatory in its calculation, something that spoke of intelligence used for hunting. "Well," she said, her voice taking on a conversational tone, "Earth's apex predator is actually quite remarkable. It's not the largest, not the strongest, and certainly not the most physically imposing. In fact, it's relatively small and appears quite vulnerable." The hologram shifted to show a human figure, standing upright on two legs, arms spread wide. The chamber erupted in what could only be described as alien laughter. "That's it?" wheezed Ambassador Krell 9. "That soft, pink, hairless thing? You're joking, surely." "Oh, I assure you I'm quite serious," Dr. Vasquez replied, her tone remaining pleasant. "This is Earth's apex predator. Would you like to know why?" The laughter continued, with various aliens making comments about the humans' apparent fragility, lack of natural weapons, and overall unimpressive appearance. Dr. Vasquez waited patiently for the noise to die down before continuing. "You see," she said, her voice cutting through the remaining chuckles, "Earth's apex predator doesn't rely on size or strength. It uses something far more dangerous." "What?" snorted Councillor Vex. "Those tiny teeth. Those blunt claws. What possible threat could such a creature pose?" Dr. Vasquez's smile widened. "Intelligence." The laughter died abruptly. "Allow me to explain," Dr. Vasquez continued, her tone becoming more serious. "The Earth's apex predator doesn't hunt with claws or fangs. It hunts with its mind. It creates tools, sets traps, and most importantly, it cooperates with others of its kind." The hologram shifted to show early humans crafting spears, working together to bring down a mammoth 10 times their size. The chamber watched in fascination as the primitive-looking creatures used coordination and strategy to defeat a vastly superior physical opponent. "Interesting," admitted Ambassador Krell 9, "but surely this primitive behavior is no match for the creatures we've seen today." "Oh, but this is just the beginning," Dr. Vasquez replied. "You see, Earth's apex predator has one other characteristic that makes it truly dangerous. It never stops adapting." The hologram fast-forwarded through human history, showing the development of increasingly sophisticated hunting techniques, bows and arrows, nets, domesticated hunting animals, firearms, and eventually modern technology. Notice Dr. Vasquez said how the apex predator doesn't just create tools, it continuously improves them. Each generation builds upon the knowledge of the previous one. The display showed modern humans in various environments, from Arctic researchers to deep-sea explorers, all thriving in conditions that would kill most other species. "But surely," said Councillor Vex, her voice less certain now, "this is just adaptation to environment. Many species can do this." can they? Dr. Vasquez asked, her tone becoming almost conversational. Can they adapt to every environment on their planet? Can they not only survive but thrive in conditions ranging from frozen wastelands to scorching deserts to the deepest ocean trenches? The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. And that's just on their home planet, Dr. Vasquez continued. Earth's apex predator has spread beyond its original ecosystem. It has colonized space, established settlements on other worlds, and adapted to environments that never existed in its evolutionary history. The hologram showed human space stations, Mars colonies, and deep space exploration vessels. This is unsettling, admitted Ambassador Krell 9. Oh, but we're just getting started, Dr. Vasquez said, her smile returning. You see, Earth's apex predator has one more characteristic that truly sets it apart from all other predators we've discussed today. The chamber waited in tense silence. It doesn't just hunt other species, Dr. Vasquez said quietly. It hunts itself. The hologram shifted to show human warfare throughout history, from ancient battles to modern conflicts. The aliens watched in horrified fascination as humans demonstrated their ability to wage war against their own kind with increasingly sophisticated and deadly methods. "Your species fights itself?" asked Councillor Vex, her voice barely a whisper. "Constantly," Dr. Vasquez confirmed cheerfully. "For territory, resources, ideology, sometimes just because we're bored. And each conflict makes us better at it. Every war teaches us new ways to kill, new strategies to employ, new weaknesses to exploit." The chamber erupted in nervous chittering as the aliens began to understand the full implications of what they were hearing. "But surely," said Ambassador Krell 9, his breathing apparatus working overtime, "this internal conflict weakens your species." "On the contrary," Dr. Vasquez replied, "it strengthens us. Only the most adaptable, the most intelligent, the most ruthlessly efficient survive. And those survivors pass their knowledge to the next generation." The hologram showed human military technology, from simple swords to nuclear weapons to orbital bombardment platforms. "Consider this," Dr. Vasquez continued. "Every other species you've shown today has one apex predator. Earth has produced millions of them, and they've been competing against each other for hundreds of thousands of years. What do you think that selective pressure produces?" The silence in the chamber was deafening. "I think," said Councillor Vex slowly, "I'm beginning to understand why your species was so readily accepted into the Galactic Council." "Oh, that's just the beginning," Dr. Vasquez said, her tone becoming almost playful. "You see, there's one more thing about Earth's apex predator that I haven't mentioned yet." The aliens waited with growing dread. "It's persistent," Dr. Vasquez said simply. "When Earth's apex predator decides to hunt something, it doesn't give up. Ever. It will track its prey across continents, across oceans, across the void of space if necessary. It will adapt, evolve, and overcome any obstacle placed in its path." The hologram showed human persistence hunting, where early humans would literally run their prey to exhaustion over distances of hundreds of miles. "Your species can outrun faster animals by simply not stopping?" asked Ambassador Krell 9. "Among other things," Dr. Vasquez confirmed. "We don't have to be faster or stronger, we just have to be more determined. We will keep coming, keep adapting, keep learning, until we achieve our goal." The chamber fell into an uncomfortable silence as the full implications of humanity's nature became clear. "So," said Councillor Vex finally, when the question was asked about Earth's apex predator. Dr. Vasquez's smile became positively predatory. I simply raised my hand. The silence that followed was broken only by the sound of several aliens nervously adjusting their breathing apparatus. Questions? Dr. Vasquez asked cheerfully. Nobody moved. No, well then, I suppose we can move on to the next part of the presentation. Next part? Squeaked Ambassador Krell 9. Oh yes, Dr. Vasquez said, her smile widening. I haven't even gotten to the really interesting stuff yet. The aliens exchanged terrified glances as Dr. Vasquez began preparing her next set of slides, humming a cheerful tune that somehow sounded vaguely threatening in the suddenly oppressive atmosphere of the chamber. Outside the great windows of the council chamber, the stars continued their eternal dance, oblivious to the fact that the galaxy's understanding of predator and prey had just been fundamentally altered by one small, seemingly harmless human with a talent for understatement and a very unsettling smile. And somewhere in the back of each alien mind, a single thought echoed with growing certainty. Perhaps inviting humanity into the Galactic Council hadn't been such a good idea after all. The presentation was far from over, and Dr. Elena Vasquez was just getting started. The silence in the Galactic Council chamber stretched like a taut wire, ready to snap at the slightest provocation. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood at the podium, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls with the casual confidence of someone who had just delivered the most terrifying biology lesson in galactic history. Now then, she said, her voice cutting through the tension like a plasma blade through tissue paper, let's talk about what makes Earth's apex predator truly special. Ambassador Krell 9 made a sound that his translator couldn't quite process, something between a wheeze and a death rattle. Surely, he managed, there cannot be more. Oh, my dear Ambassador, Dr. Vasquez replied, her smile taking on an almost maternal quality that somehow made it infinitely more disturbing. We haven't even scratched the surface. You see, everything I've shown you so far, that's just humanity operating at baseline. The hologram shifted to show a human brain, its neural pathways lighting up in complex patterns that pulsed with electric blue energy. This, Dr. Vasquez said, tapping the display with obvious pride, is where the real magic happens. Earth's apex predator doesn't just use tools or hunt cooperatively. It thinks about thinking. It plans for scenarios that don't exist yet. It imagines problems and solves them before they happen. Counselor Vex's wings had stopped fluttering entirely, hanging limp at her sides. What do you mean by imagines problems? Well, Dr. Vasquez said, her tone becoming conversational again, let me give you an example. Has your species ever wondered what would happen if your star suddenly exploded? The chamber filled with confused chittering. Why would we wonder such a thing? Asked the hegemony representative, his voice translator struggling with his agitation. It is not possible for another billion years. Exactly. Dr. Vasquez exclaimed, clapping her hands together with enthusiasm. You think logically, practically. Very sensible. Humans, on the other hand, think about impossible scenarios all the time. We call it what-if thinking. The hologram showed various human science fiction scenarios, generation ships, terraforming equipment, stellar engineering projects. Your species imagines the impossible. Asked Ambassador Krell 9, his breathing apparatus working overtime. Not just imagines, Dr. Vasquez corrected. We prepare for it. We design contingency plans for asteroid impact, supervolcanic eruptions, alien invasions, zombie apocalypses, robot uprisings, time travel paradoxes, and yes, even stellar explosions. The aliens stared at her in horrified fascination. Zombie apocalypses, whispered Counselor Vex. Oh, those are particularly fun, Dr. Vasquez said brightly. The basic premise is that some plague or virus turns humans into mindless, flesh-eating monsters. We've written thousands of stories about it, made countless films, developed detailed survival strategies, and even run military training exercises based on zombie outbreak scenarios. But, stammered the Silicon-based Federation representative, zombies are not real. No, they're not, Dr. Vasquez agreed. But by planning for impossible threats, we become better at handling real ones. A zombie outbreak plan is actually excellent preparation for any kind of pandemic, civil unrest, or breakdown of social order. The hologram shifted to show human disaster response teams, military units, and emergency services in action. You see, Dr. Vasquez continued, Earth's apex predator doesn't just react to threats. It anticipates them, prepares for them, and often prevents them entirely. We have entire government departments dedicated to thinking about things that might never happen. This is madness, muttered Ambassador Krell 9. Is it? Dr. Vasquez asked, her tone becoming sharper. Let me ask you something. How many of your species have contingency plans for first contact with hostile aliens? The chamber fell silent. None of you, I'm guessing, Dr. Vasquez said. Because why would you? You're all reasonable, logical species. You assume that other civilizations will be equally reasonable and logical. Her smile became predatory again. Humans assume the opposite. We assume that any alien species we meet will be hostile, technologically superior, and actively trying to kill us. We've been planning for alien invasion since before we even knew aliens existed. The hologram showed human military technology specifically designed for space warfare, orbital defense platforms, kinetic bombardment systems, ship-to-ship weapons. Your species, said Councillor Vex slowly, designed weapons to fight enemies you had never met. Of course, Dr. Vasquez said, we've been doing it for centuries. We designed anti-aircraft weapons before aircraft existed. We developed submarine hunting techniques before submarines were invented. We created computer viruses before computers were widespread. The aliens began to shift uncomfortably in their seats. But here's the really interesting part, Dr. Vasquez continued. Humans don't just prepare for external threats. We prepare for internal ones too. We have detailed plans for what to do if our own government becomes tyrannical, if our economy collapses, if our technology turns against us. The hologram showed various human resistance movements, underground networks, and survival communities. You plan to fight your own leadership? Asked Ambassador Krell 9, his voice barely a whisper. Constantly, Dr. Vasquez confirmed cheerfully. It's actually written into our founding documents. We have a legal right to overthrow our government if it becomes oppressive. We teach our children that questioning authority is not just acceptable, it's necessary. The chamber erupted in nervous chittering as the aliens began to understand the full implications of human psychology. This explains so much, murmured Councillor Vex. Your species' reluctance to accept central authority, your insistence on maintaining independent military forces, your constant questioning of council decisions. Oh, that's just the beginning, Dr. Vasquez said. You see, Earth's apex predator has one more characteristic that I haven't mentioned yet. The aliens waited with growing dread. We're curious, Dr. Vasquez said simply. Insatiably, dangerously curious. We see something we don't understand and we have to figure out how it works, even if it's dangerous. Especially if it's dangerous. The hologram showed human scientists working with deadly viruses, explosive chemicals, radioactive materials, and exotic physics experiments. Your species deliberately studies dangerous things, asked the hegemony representative. Oh yes, Dr. Vasquez said. We've split the atom, created artificial black holes, genetically modified deadly diseases, and built weapons that could destroy our entire planet. All in the name of curiosity. The silence in the chamber was deafening. But surely, said Ambassador Krell 9, your governing bodies regulate such research. Dr. Vasquez laughed, a sound that made several aliens flinch. Try. But here's the thing about humans, we're very good at finding loopholes. If our government bans research into dangerous weapons, we'll research them anyway and call it theoretical physics or medical research or accident prevention. The hologram showed various human research facilities, many of them hidden or disguised as something else. We've been doing this for so long, Doctor, Vasquez continued, that we've developed an entire culture around it. We call it mad science, and we make entertainment about it. We celebrate the idea of researchers who push boundaries, ignore safety protocols, and create things that probably shouldn't exist. This is terrifying, whispered Counselor Vex. It gets worse, Dr. Vasquez said cheerfully. You see, human curiosity doesn't just extend to understanding how things work. We also want to know how things break. We have entire professions dedicated to figuring out the weaknesses in systems, the flaws in designs, the vulnerabilities in defenses. The hologram showed human hackers, penetration testers, and security researchers at work. We call them white hat hackers when they're working for the good guys, Dr. Vasquez explained. But the same skills that make someone good at protecting systems also make them good at attacking them. And humans being humans, we've developed detailed knowledge about how to break into, disable or destroy pretty much everything we've ever built. The aliens stared at her in horror. Your species, said Ambassador Krell 9, deliberately trains people to attack your own systems. How else would we know if they're secure? Dr. Vasquez asked reasonably. We assume that if we can think of a way to break something, someone else can too. So we break our own things first, figure out how to fix them, then break them again in a different way. The hologram showed the constant cycle of human security research: attack, defend, improve, repeat. This is why, Dr. Vasquez continued, human technology is so robust. Everything we build has been tested not just for normal operation, but for deliberate sabotage, user error, hostile environment, and catastrophic failure. But, stammered Counselor Vex, doesn't this make your species inherently untrustworthy? Dr. Vasquez's smile became almost gentle. On the contrary, it makes us the most trustworthy species in the galaxy. You see, we understand exactly how dangerous we are. We know what we're capable of, and we've built our entire civilization around the assumption that everyone else is just as dangerous as we are. The hologram showed human international relations, diplomatic protocols, and conflict resolution mechanisms. Every human treaty, every agreement, every alliance is designed with the assumption that everyone involved might try to cheat, break the rules, or find loopholes. Dr. Vasquez explained, we don't trust each other, so we build systems that work even when trust breaks down. This is, said Ambassador Krell 9 slowly, a very different approach to civilization than most species take. Yes, Dr. Vasquez agreed. Most species build their societies around trust, cooperation, and shared values. Humans build ours around the assumption that everyone is a potential threat. It makes for a more complicated system, but also a more resilient one. The hologram showed human institutions, courts, police, military, intelligence agencies, regulatory bodies. Every human institution exists as a check on every other human institution, Dr. Vasquez continued. We don't trust our leaders, so we elect new ones regularly. We don't trust our military, so we put civilians in charge of it. We don't trust our police, so we create oversight committees. We don't trust our corporations, so we regulate them. We don't trust our regulators, so we create watchdog groups to watch them. The aliens began to understand the intricate web of checks and balances that held human society together. This is why Dr. Vasquez said humans adapt so quickly to new situations. We're always assuming that our current system might fail, so we're always preparing backup plans, alternative approaches, and contingency strategies. But surely, said Councillor Vex, this constant suspicion and preparation must be exhausting. Oh, it is, Dr. Vasquez agreed, but it's also what makes us human. We're not the strongest, fastest, or most intelligent species in the galaxy. But we're the most paranoid, the most prepared, and the most adaptable. The hologram showed human space exploration with multiple redundant systems, escape pods, and emergency protocols. When humans go into space, Dr. Vasquez explained, we don't just bring what we need for the mission. We bring what we need for every possible failure mode we can imagine. And then we bring backup systems for the backup systems. This explains, said Ambassador Krell 9, why human ships are so much larger than necessary for their stated missions. Exactly, Dr. Vasquez said. We assume that everything will go wrong, so we prepare for everything to go wrong. It makes our technology more expensive and more complicated, but also more reliable. The chamber fell silent as the full implications of human nature became clear. So, said Councillor Vex finally, when you raised your hand to identify Earth's apex predator, you were not just indicating that humans are predators. You were indicating that every human in this room is a predator. Dr. Vasquez's smile became radiant. Now you're getting it. Every human you've ever met, every human ambassador, every human trader, every human tourist, every human scientist, every human artist, every human child is a member of the most successful predator species in the galaxy. The silence that followed was profound. We don't hunt for food anymore, Dr. Vasquez continued. We hunt for knowledge, for resources, for territory, for ideas, for entertainment, for the simple joy of the hunt itself. We've turned predation into art, science, business, and philosophy. The hologram showed human achievements, cities that touched the sky, machines that could think, art that could move the soul, and technology that could reshape worlds. And the truly beautiful part, Dr. Vasquez said, is that most of the time we don't even realize we're doing it. We just call it being human. The aliens sat in stunned silence, finally understanding what they had welcomed into their galactic community. For questions, Dr. Vasquez asked cheerfully. The silence stretched on. No, well then, I suppose that concludes today's presentation, Dr. Vasquez said, beginning to pack up her equipment. I hope you found it educational. As she walked toward the exit, she paused at the door and turned back to the assembled aliens. Oh, and one more thing, she said, her smile becoming absolutely predatory. Thank you for accepting humanity into the Galactic Council. We're really looking forward to working with you. The door closed behind her with a soft hiss, leaving 47 species of advanced alien life forms sitting in stunned silence, finally understanding that they hadn't just invited humanity into their community. They had invited the apex predator into their home, and it was smiling.